I mean, no.
Hey, everybody. And of course, that was Johnny talking when I told him not to. So if y'all heard a voice come in there at the end of the countdown, that's because I said, Johnny, shut up. And Johnny said, well, no.
Johnny said, "You're not my boss.
You're not my real dad.
Are you? Are you?"
Welcome to Plausible Deniability. I'm Michael Cross.
I'm Brook Bullock. He showed up. Yay!
Yay! Hey, Brook, it is good to have you back. Where were you?
I was in traffic last week in San Francisco. So when it was 7 o'clock here, it was 5 o'clock there. All, for 3 other days in San Francisco.
Hey,
the vibe had been good. I'd been getting back to the hotel. What would have been about 6:30 this time, and I'm like, we're good. I got this. And then that was the day when there was like a little traffic snarl or something, and I'm sitting there. I thought about broadcasting from the back of the taxi of the Uber, but I did not.
Cool. That would have been so cool.
I should have.
You could have showed it around.
There's there's the Golden Gate Bridge right there, guys. So.
But you're back, and you didn't leave your heart in San Francisco.
I did not leave my heart in San Francisco, but I will say that I get a lot of those songs now. Like Train says, be careful because you'll fall in love when you go to San Francisco and things like that. Not with any particular person, but I have to say 2 things. One, the weather was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 78 degrees as the high the week that I was there 2 weeks ago. And I love our Oklahoma hospitality, but everybody I met out there, and I was not like doing the tourist thing where they had to be nice. I was in amongst the people. Everybody out there was really nice.
That's
and
cool.
So I was very surprised. I got to be honest. I had some stereotypes heading that way, but it was fantastic. I would go back to Dominican University and guest teach again in a heartbeat. So
that's awesome.
If those guys are listening,
that far west, that's really cool.
Yeah. It was very cool. It was really great. So and the fog thing is true too. Like there was like the fog, it just rolls in over the top of the mountain and comes down into the bay. It's crazy. Like it's really amazing and cool. So anyway, that's my travels,
cool.
But I'm glad to be back. You guys had a great show last week or 2 weeks ago. It was awesome.
It felt really good. I think Johnny did a really good job. We just talked about Star Wars and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of different stuff.
I threw some shout outs out there to folks that, like me, had to watch it on Rewind or whatever, watch it on the recast on demand. I love that conversation you guys had about Ahsoka and Rebels. That was really great. So,
yeah, I am still finishing up. I am about episode 11 of season 4, so I'm really close to ending it. And it gets knowing how it ends. The things with Kanan and Hera are even more heartbreaking. This time, and so it's tough. So I'm very excited about finishing that up. And so by the way, okay, so I don't want to be a downer, but the other day we were talking about our 80s albums. And
yes.
Whilst I am at the gym, I look up at the television screen, and Sinead O'Connor has passed away.
Yeah,
at only 56.
I know. I'm like, okay, that's not enough ages. That's not enough years to be.
No.
And so in honor of Sinead O'Connor's passing, on my flash drive in my car, I have The Lion and the Cobra, which is her debut
awesome.
album. And folks, I know it wasn't on my list of best albums, but The Lion and the Cobra is phenomenal. If you have not heard any Sinead O'Connor at all, but outside of Nothing Compares to You and Lay Your Hands on Me.
Outside of I Do Not Want What I Have Not Got album.
If you have not heard The Lion and the Cobra, 2 songs. If you hear nothing else from Sinead O'Connor, 2 songs. Jackie, which is just ghostly. It is spooky AF. Trust me, Jackie. Also, Troy. I highly recommend.
I don't remember Troy.
This song, she takes you through a roller coaster of emotions, from being in love to wanting to kick the guy's butt. I mean, it is a roller coaster of emotions in one 5-minute long song. It is so good. So I highly recommend everybody, if you get a chance, listen to Troy by Sinead O'Connor. I'm sure somebody's got it on YouTube somewhere, or get it Spotify or whatever, but it's so good. And I was, like I said, listening to the entire line and Cobra today. Mandinka. I mean, it's an incredible album, and we lost someone who I totally admired back in the 80s. So,
Michael, I'll do you one better on the song choices real fast. Look up her London sessions.
Oh, really?
You can find a lot of them on YouTube, because it's much like MTV's Unplugged. Like when Nirvana came out, Nirvana did half of them were Nirvana songs, and half of them were other people's songs.
Oh, wow.
So she does some covers, and she does some amazing stuff. One that really sticks out that I actually listened to yesterday was Something Beautiful that she does, and I think it's just something she just can't. It's not a cover. She was just like, "There's this song I've been thinking about doing. I'm going to play it during this live session," and it's not live like you're listening to a recorded concert. It's a studio session.
Yeah, it's just called the London Sessions.
Yeah,
okay.
London Sessions. Yeah, look that up.
That's wild.
You can't find it on Spotify under Sinead O'Connor. I think you have to go to Spotify and look for London Sessions. Much like the MTV Unplugged, you can't find it by looking up Korn. You have to look up MTV Unplugged.
Yeah,
but it's also on YouTube. Yeah, good stuff. Brooke?
No, I was just gonna say that on Twitter, there was a post by Russell Crowe talking about how he and someone else kind of saw her while they were having coffee at a little coffee shop, and basically called out to her. So the friend, which he left unnamed, went and caught up to her and said, hey, and came back. And it's just like a little 3-tweet thread, but it just rang really special and true. And I really enjoyed reading that. I'm not a big Russell Crowe fan, but it really captured that even if you become this gigantic star, and even if people, shake their head or think that you make bad choices or whatever, that we're all still human. It was a really, really touching 3-thread post. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Aiden brings up that he really likes it when artists do different covers.
Other
artists. I gotta say, it's gonna sound crazy. One of the best live shows I've seen, big arena shows, is Green Day, and they did about a 45-minute spot in the middle of their show where they played everything from Chubby Checker to Metallica.
Oh wow!
And everything in between, and it was just so. And they didn't say anything about it. They just all of a sudden were like, they started playing. It's like, you like that? Oh, you like that? Here's another one, and they started playing something different, and they started playing other people's stuff, and it was good.
Yeah, I saw.
And it's got to be good.
I heard somebody who went to go see When in Rome, which, if you ever heard the Promise, is basically their only song. And they said they went to go see When in Rome in concert, and they were like, what are they going to do? Repeat that song over and over again? And no, it is a total tribute to all 80s new wave music, and apparently they rock it. It is just amazing is what they heard from, because they just do covers. I'm like, that'd be cool.
That's awesome. And as well, it's like Windrose, right? Johnnie and some of the Wayfinders crew had a chance to go see Windrose, and they've got a little TikTok thing because they've got the big cover thing of Diggy Diggy Hole, right? Where it's just like thrash metal, and they're just, Diggy Diggy Hole. And they've got this little TikTok where every time they open something, a package, a magazine, the refrigerator, the song plays, right? Because it's the one that everybody wants to hear. And as a band, whatever your giant smash hit is, it's got, even though it's your moneymaker, it's got to be boring to play it every single day. So to get up there and then have the audience go with you, is you like, hey, we're gonna play some Chubby Checker, and then we're gonna play some U2, and then we're gonna play, whatever. So that's cool. That's
going
fun.
into that their cliched songs thing. So I had I was on a board of directors for a theater like 10-ish years ago, and someone on the board popped up and said, I got myself and a couple of people here tickets to go see Bon Jovi. Does anybody else want in? And this was when Bon Jovi, like in the 80s, Bon Jovi was great, I think. And then afterwards, they just, I don't know, they put out some more music, and it was good for different people, but for a different generation maybe. But I was like, yeah, let's go. And we get there, and you're like, oh, I wonder what song's going to be the last song they do. Is it going to be Living on a Prayer? Is it going to be Bad Medicine? What is it? They had a giant sign where it had a list of their top 3 big, huge, we're known for this in the 80s songs, and a code next to it. And you had to text.
That's awesome. Fabulous.
Code, and it cost money to text it, but the board continuously updated the numbers and kept moving the songs to different positions. And that was the song they did at the end. And it was, that was kind of a cool it's like, you know why we're here. We're here to hear one of these 3 songs.
There's only one Bon Jovi song I like.
For it now. Earn your money.
Yeah. There's only one Bon Jovi song I like, and that's it's "Runaway."
Yeah, it's a great song. Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a Bon Jovi song until I saw it in Coma or something, and then that came up on their thing that Bon. I was like, I didn't realize it was Bon Jovi. I did not like Bon Jovi in the 80s. And it comes on. My wife loves him, and every time it comes on, I've got okay. We'll listen to it.
Yeah, there you go. Another artist that does something different, you guys have probably experienced too, is Garth Brooks. Like whenever he gets to the end of his concerts, and he's like, "What did you not hear that you want to hear?"
Yeah.
And he will do not obscure, but real fan requests from the audience, and play things that are the B-side stuff, and that's really cool too. Like it's not at the end, I guess. He kind of does as a middle set where he just asks, "What do you want to hear?" So
he puts on a hell of a show too.
Oh, it's great.
I've seen a lot of his concerts on. I mean, not just on television, not live, but yeah.
Oh yeah, no, seeing them in person live.
It's
man, he puts on a hell of it for a country artist back in the 90s. Because I went and saw George Strait once, and he just stood perfectly still, strummed his guitar, and played and sang. I think I see Garth Brooks, and he's swinging out over the audience with a hose and dancing around, and clothes changes, and it was good stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, just real quick, go ahead.
Go.
Well, I was just gonna say, so I work at a radio station, just in case you didn't know. And
what?
This morning I get to work, and it's the Spy that plays until I do the morning show,
which is great. I'm sorry I'm interrupting. Which is great. I love listening to the Spy now.
Yeah, Spy is awesome, and every now and then they play some old retro stuff. I get there, and they're playing "The Masquerade" by Berlin.
Nice.
It's 2:00 in the morning. I cranked it and just danced. So it's because
did you break any of the glass walls at KOSU?
Yeah.
Did you break any of the glass walls at KOSU?
I tried. Okay, you ready for some trivia?
Woo! Let's do trivia.
All right, guys. Everyone, hit. We got everyone in. Oh, by the way, S. Jones said that Weezer did a whole album of '80s covers.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. I'd love to hear that one. I like.
There's a group I'm trying to think of that they're more known now for their original stuff, but they started as a cover band in clubs that would throw out an original song every once in a while, and they started noticing people were wanting their original work more than their covers. But they did like "Send Me an Angel" cover.
Oh yeah,
I'll look them up and see who they are.
Yeah, you're right, Hal. Garth is good, but he is no Chris Gaines.
Stop.
Inside joke if anyone got that one. All right. Okay, so here we go. We are going to start with Magic and Miscellany. And we'll get your trivia hats on. How many sharp thorns or sharpened twigs are required to cast the spell Spike Growth? How many sharp thorns or sharpened twigs are required to cast the spell Spike Growth?
Highly
I think it
Suspect.
takes.
Highly Suspect is the band I was thinking of. Sorry, but they just
Highly
started
Suspect.
as a little band that toured around and did covers, and then every once in a while they throw out an original song.
Who, Weezer?
No, they were called Highly Suspect.
Okay.
Yeah. Andrew can't answer because he's driving home. Well, if you just slipped us $5, we would have delayed 10
I
minutes.
did. Yeah, really. You should have let us know. Aiden.
We could have bantered on about other great concerts and things like that. That's no big deal.
Aiden did the funny number.
I think it takes an entire mistletoe, maybe a blueberry or a raspberry. That takes an entire mistletoe. Boom, boom. Season 2, folks, get that joke.
Mistletoe's a fungus.
Mistletoe's a poison.
It's poisonous fungus. And this poisonous fungus is the state flower of what state?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
That's right.
Oklahoma.
Okay.
Of course.
S. Jones.
Parasite.
S. Jones. You got it first. 7.
Woo!
It is 7. Andrew came in quick second, but S. Jones was just a little bit faster. So S. Jones, thank you so much. Hey, let's go to history. Ready to go to history?
History.
Here we go. Hey, I'm getting new glasses, by the way. So just I'm very excited about this. Anyway, what TSR product first released? What TSR product first released in 1976 consisted of configurable segments of underworld terrain? What TSR
Legos.
product first released in 1976 consisted of configurable segments of underworld terrain? 1976. You know, that was one of the complaints that from our trivia at Red Dirt at SoonerCon was that a lot of our questions you had to be of a certain age to know it. No, that's true.
Argue that, and here's why.
Go on.
I hosted bar trivia for 5 years, 3+ nights a week. And the elderly people would come up and they would say, I don't know the answer to these Britney Spears questions. But the 20-somethings would come up and know the answer to Mozart.
Right. Or the Beatles, or Elvis. Yeah.
So,
and I think that's not true. You can know about current pop culture. You just have to.
You got the information superhighway in your pockets.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how we knew anything in the 80s. I cannot remember how I knew anything in the 80s. I without
your
Google,
parents
I'm
told you, and then smacked you in the
lost.
back of the head. That's how you knew stuff.
That's yeah. So far, no one has gotten it close. Although I would say the Ruffles and Falcor is close because we are actually looking for a product. We are actually looking for the product name. So Ruffles, Andrew, S. Jones, y'all are there. You just don't have the actual name of the product. So think about it.
Now, does it have kind of a famous ad with a particular picture of the box?
Oh, I don't know. There could be.
Okay. When they put in dungeon tiles, I kind of see something in my head. I can't focus on the title, but I see a thing in my head. So,
yeah, it's only harder to know current pop culture, S. Jones, when you're older, because up until around the early aughts, I was pretty tight on what was going on in pop culture, but then I kind of dropped out. Fortunately, working for NPR, we kind of try to stay up to date with, at least whatever Taylor Swift's doing. So
Hal says, "What do you mean? I was a teenager in the 80s. I knew everything."
That's right.
I gave an answer in the chat.
Mental parentiles. Because I think we're gonna go on for this one. The actual answer, folks, is Dungeon Geomorphs.
Oh,
That's why I said you guys were close. I think those are the tiles and terrain and all that kind of stuff. But Geomorphs.
With Dungeon Geomorphs, I'd like to say thanks to everyone for coming. Good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
That's right. All right.
2 weeks ago, the questions were brutal.
They were.
I think
they were
Aiden
hard.
got one and Andrew got one. I think they were brutal. They were tough.
And also I gotta say something. So let me ask this question while everyone else answers. We'll make this comment. Here we go. For monsters.
Monsters.
From which plane of existence do Pegasi originate? From which plane of existence do Pegasi originate? This will not take long. So,
was this mentioned in campaign 1?
No, we just fought him.
I think no, because the nightmare that got poofed away and came back because of magical.
So 2 weeks ago, we only had about maybe 5 or 6 people watching, especially like 4 or 5 people watching. Brook, we have 12 people watching. I'm going to say it's you.
No, I will say, now this is pulling back the curtain a little bit. I will say, someone, Michael Cross, kind of, actually hit the social media this time a little harder, and so I'm sure you reminded everybody that's what it was.
It is. It is. Oh no. I'm going to go with S. Jones. S. Jones of Olympus. It is the Olympian Glades of Arborea.
Okay.
I'm going to say that's probably close. I was going to think Mount Celestia, but I think that's actually.
Well, hold on, Michael. Read the question again.
The plane, right?
From which plane of existence?
Okay, stop there. Let's also. I agree with you giving it to Jones. Let's also give it to Ruffles and Falcor for saying material plane because.
Well, no, they don't originate from the material plane.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Good try.
They originate from the Greek Mount Olympus, basically. Don't you remember Hercules when he poofed him into existence?
I tried, Mark. I tried.
Now we see who your favorite. I thought they were from Nirvana.
Good one. Nicely done.
We'll see you next week.
Good dad joke. Hey, how do you know when a joke's a dad joke? When it becomes apparent. So,
Michael, do you tell dad jokes?
I tell dad jokes all the time. My son loves my dad jokes.
Does he laugh?
When you tell dad jokes.
Yes, my dad loves it. My dad loves it.
Amanda will honestly call her dad at random to tell him a dad joke.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, just ask my son. He loves it when I do dad jokes. He does not. It's horrible. It's really bad. Okay. Pink. Whatever Pink is. Adventures, I think. I think Adventures.
If this is a Barbie question, I'm out. Like, it's great. It's getting all the press, but I just can't handle the overload anymore.
We'll talk Barbie in a second. But first, let me ask this question.
God, why'd I bring it up?
What was the title of B Solo, the 1984 solo module for the basic set in which you explored an animal-shaped stronghold? What was the title of BSOLO, the 1984 solo module for the basic set in which you explored an animal-shaped stronghold?
I know this one. I might actually have it on the shelf.
Are you serious?
Right over there.
You should go get it.
I think I do.
You should go get it.
Okay. All right.
Get it.
Be right back.
Okay.
See if I can find it.
So Barbie.
Like it disappears in the cityscape.
I know. Let's see.
Barbie. What about Barbie?
I can't believe that did so well. I'm floored. I am floored that did so well.
I don't want to see it. I want to see the ending.
I'll see it when it comes out on whatever streaming service it ends up coming out on. By the way, I've seen one movie in the theater this year. That was Ant-Man. I didn't even go see
it when I'm at Best Buy and I walk by the TV section and they're playing it.
Oh, there you go. I mean, if it turns on Max or whatever, I'll get it that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's over there. It's buried, but
okay. We still haven't gotten it.
It's a ghost. A ghost of.
Yes, and again, it's an animal-shaped stronghold, And that animal is listed in the title. So, oh my
Is
gosh.
Aiden speaking code when he says that the Barbie movie is visually interesting? Like, what's up with that? Or does he just mean cinematography?
I think he's talking about cinematography, but yes. I did see D&D 3 times in the theater.
I think some of my casting choices.
And did you? Oh, so there's. Well, have you heard about the producers now are saying that they might go for another D&D sequel if they do it on the cheap.
Okay.
I saw that.
It's like, well, that's exactly the problem. That's why some sequels suck, is because the second one they do is cheaper than the first one. So, okay, we're still not finding it, are we? Ghost
they
of
now
Albert, keep.
That's right.
Ghost of Wolf, keep.
I feel like 3 days has passed.
Someone has 2 of the 3 names in the title, though. So,
yes. Okay. So did you find it? You didn't find it. It's buried somewhere.
It's buried over there.
That's too bad. Okay. The actual answer is Ghost of. Oh, do you know what it is? What is it, Brook?
Oh no! Go ahead. Brooke,
ahead. What is it?
Because I might get it. I would say Lion Ghost Castle.
It's Ghost of Lion Castle.
Ghost of Lion Castle. There we go. Woo!
Yes. So.
I played the heck out of that thing. It had
solo. I'd love that.
It had the little yellow. It had the little yellow film that you put over, and then it brought out red letters. Oh, I played the heck out of that thing.
I do remember that. I did play that. Yes.
Ghosts of Beaver Pen. That's the Sasquatch episode.
Ghosts of Shit's
Creek.
Creek.
So many great people in the chat. Woo! Good to see you guys.
Okay, here we go. Blue. Which I think is characters. In Eberron, which order of druids preserve ancient tradition? In Eberron, which order of druids preserve ancient traditions to protect the world from aberrations? In Eberron, which order of druids preserve ancient traditions to protect the world from aberrations? That kind of makes sense. I did not know that.
Don't brag about knowing the answer, Michael. Come on.
There we go.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know the answer. That's.
And my Galarian Pathfinder brain comes in, so the only druids I can think of are the ones from Giant Slayer. So there's an order of druids in the Giant Slayer campaign.
Yes.
Aiden, that's a good guess, but that is incorrect.
Oh.
Your family.
It's not the order of the Emerald Claw, it's the order of the Green Claw.
That's right.
Now you're just being evil. When did Johnny Payne become chaotic evil? Chaotic neutral, we kind of always knew.
He's chaotic neutral with evil tendencies.
Are you new?
Oh, I see this one.
There is no alignment. There is no alignment. This is not the alignment you're looking for.
This is not the addition you're looking for.
The Order of Sailor Moon. That's somebody needs to invent a Sailor Moon druid.
No, we're fine.
Come on, you kind of want it. It would be great. Like, you could do, like, the whole, give her a couple witch properties with, like, the hair and stuff. The tensile hair.
Fighting evil by moonlight. Yeah. Probably. I don't know how that song goes.
Some walk by night.
So so it's not an order of. It's not an order. It's the blank is the name of the druid. The druids who preserve ancient traditions to protect the world from aberrations. The blank.
The McCoys.
No, Germs, we are doing trivia right now. That's why we're all sitting around waiting. That's why. Welcome, Germs. So, Germs, here we go. Wait a minute. Just in case you might know this one. In Eberron, which order of druids preserve ancient traditions to protect the world from aberrations? So we'll see if Germs might know this one or if his Google is faster.
Damn. Called out. Hey, the augmented reality app Mirrorscape has launched on phones, where you can like look through your phone at the table and see your minis and see the terrain and see the bad guys.
Oh,
And
that's kind of cool.
It is launched.
That's very cool.
Yesterday, actually.
Andrew has evidently made it home and just hit the sauce immediately. He's like the White Claws, you know. So.
The White Claws, the awesome cool druids, claw
White
cheeses,
Claws.
the Emerald
What was
Circle.
that beer he had in his fridge that day?
The claw.
He's a restaurateur. He could have all kinds of stuff in the fridge. Who
Andrew,
knows?
about germs.
Okay. It looks like no one's going to get this one because Germs got in and didn't get it right either. Okay, it's the Gatekeepers.
Oh,
I should have got that.
The Gatekeepers.
I should have got that.
Yeah. All right. Woo. Final question. How are we doing so far? Who's gotten? Is anyone keeping track?
Yeah. So S. Jones has 2. Ruffles has 1 in our big grand total because this is going to wrap up a set. Right now, Ruffles has 5, tied with Andrew, and then Hal has 4, and S. Jones has 3. So we have 1 question left, 2 questions left.
One question left. Cosmology.
One question left.
And guess what, folks? Your favorite. It's a Greyhawk question. In Greyhawk, what is the name of the largest and deepest freshwater body in the Flyness, whose name means Lake of Unknown Depths?
The Bog of
And it's always...
Read it one more time.
Yes, sorry. In Greyhawk.
No, you're great.
What is the name of the largest and deepest freshwater body in the Flyness, whose name means Lake of Unknown Depths? And every time you look at it, I was like, I have no idea how to pronounce it.
Something Kardashian.
Oh, yeah. Unknown Depths.
God, Brook.
With the teacup on the bum, it should be great. I broke Johnny Payne. It's awesome. I've broken Johnny Payne, ladies and gentlemen. He's
Jesus on a pogo stick.
Okay, first off, S. Jones. Got it.
You mean
S. Jones. Got it.
It's never dive.
Near div, nar dive.
Oh, I like never dive. Like don't get in the water. That's a pretty good name.
Anyway, that is trivia, everybody. Thank you for playing.
Yay, S. Jones!
Way to go, S. Jones.
Our leaderboard for this set. So S. Jones got 4, Hal has 4, Ruffles and Andrew both tied for first place with 5 apiece. So woo, that's fantastic.
That is so good. Okay, so what we're actually here to talk to you about is the 80s. The generation we know more about, the decade we know more about. Not to say it was the greatest decade, but
it was pretty damn cool.
It was
cool.
Awesome.
It's problematic to say that.
There's some issues as well with the 80s. There's things that were not good with the 80s. But
if we just focus on entertainment,
pop culture,
that part was pretty good.
Pop culture was phenomenal in the 80s. The music, the movies, television shows. Incredible. I mean,
the 80s gave us Michael Jackson and Mr. T and all that cool stuff, but it did have its problems. So,
yeah. So, let's talk about movies.
Do it.
Top 3 countdown. So, do we want to roll a die and see who? Because I got my new Heather dice. That's my die awesome. From Heather that I got from the Blue Note.
Nice.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, okay.
I was able to
Curtis lots.
I was able to choose a nice purple. It was great. Ooh, that's a 16.
Oh.
Nat 20.
Heather,
we're staying in the same order. Heather,
thank you so much. This die is phenomenal. Nat 20.
2. I'm going to Game HQ and get my money back on these metal dice.
Nat 20. Love it.
So before the show started, Johnny was like, the recent order has been, Brook, Michael, Johnnie. Yeah, and so we're like, no, we should roll. And so, but then of course, what happened? Brook. Oh wait, yeah. So, Michael, Brook, Johnnie. If we go from high to low. So anyway, woohoo!
All right. So, am I going first then?
If you want, you get to choose.
Do
because you won the big
go first.
I'll go first. Here we go.
All right.
So number three. We're talking about movies. Again, also, I think we are eliminating any Star Wars, Star Trek, because those are a given. Empire Strikes Back, I think, is hands down the best movie of the 80s.
Any of the Emmanuel movies that were made straight for cable?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Lady Chatterley's Lover.
As sad as you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Skinamax? Yeah. Anyway.
What is this Skin-A-Max you speak of? I do not know.
Don't know.
See, I didn't say it.
Okay, so no Star Trek, no Star Wars, because again, the Wrath of Khan, Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yes,
all incredible. So, going outside of that, my number 3 is The Last Unicorn.
Oh, very nice.
I ruined my VHS tape of that because I would watch that over and over again. I even recorded the songs so that I could have them on tape and just listen to them on tape because I didn't know there was things like soundtracks. I don't know. But, Last Unicorn. Great music, great animation. Actually, a pretty good book, too. But anyway.
Did you record it just by laying like the cassette recorder next to the television?
With a little microphone right into the speaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I was total nerd. But yeah, that was my number 3 was The Last Unicorn. Mia Farrow's in that, and she played the Last Unicorn. And anyway, so
that's awesome.
Brook,
kind of on the other end of the spectrum, my number 3 is Terminator.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Very close. Yeah. Skylink is just right around the corner.
Yeah.
Now so Terminator. Or I don't know if anyone has that on the list later. So I don't. If I do, we can just ignore this question. But Terminator or Terminator 2?
Oh. I only had one Terminator on my list. So
which do you think did you like Terminator better than Terminator 2?
Gosh.
Terminator 2 was 91.
Terminator 2 was 91?
I'm saved by a technicality.
Wasn't Terminator 84?
Sure. It took a while. It was either
7 years.
I
didn't realize that.
It took a while. Like the difference between Alien and Aliens was like a huge gap.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway, so
Terminator was 84.
Yeah. That's so 7 years. That's a long. Usually, nowadays, if you got a hit, you better come out with a sequel within 2 years. Otherwise, which is probably why T2 was actually a good sequel, was because they took their time with it and it actually turned out to be really good. Johnny,
you bet.
So mine was again. Everybody knows me for 3 things. I'm an a-hole. I'm dark and edgy, and I love escapism. And I think one of the biggest escapism films in the 80s for someone my age was The Last Starfighter.
Yes.
No, wonderful.
I'm just a downtrodden kid in a trailer park playing a video game. And next
hoping
thing
you get picked up by aliens.
Saving the Galactic Empire from the forces of Xur.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
It was a great movie. You could re-edit. Don't remake it. Re-edit that movie and take out everything that happens on Earth after he leaves and goes into space. The whole android he left behind, that whole shtick. It was whatever.
Yeah.
It was all about him going into space. And then going back to the dark and edgy part, my favorite scene in the movie, besides his co-pilot's laugh, was at the end when the Death Blossom goes off and all this stuff happens, and Zur is there, and they're looking down at the battle map of the space, and he says, "What do we do now?" And he looks up, and that thing goes, "We die." It explodes. That's just, that was good stuff. But we have this total escapism movie for sure. You could go home and daydream about that happening to you.
And early days of computer animation, it's obvious. Early days of computer animation, but it was great for when at that time. Okay, number 2, Labyrinth.
Oh,
to this day, I still quote lines from Labyrinth, and it will always be, to me, that's David Bowie at his most hot. I mean, come on, that's David Bowie, and absolutely loved it. Loved the storyline. I love the theories that have come from since then about who Jared was and how he became like the king of there's a whole bunch of great stuff out there. But Labyrinth was without a doubt my number 2 in the 80s.
And undisputable, Jared the Goblin King was a way better babysitter than Sarah.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jared cared. He threw the baby up in the air and danced with him, and
Yeah. Sing songs about it.
Yeah, you remind me of the Babe.
Yeah. What babe?
The Babe with power.
What power?
The power of the voodoo.
Voodoo?
You do.
Let's stop now.
No, you can't stop there. The bog of
we know if he doesn't stop, there'll be one little spillover line, and the next thing you know, you guys are off into Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then we'll never recover.
Yeah. See, Hal talks about the bog of external spend. My favorite line in that is, "Sarah, smell bad."
Yeah.
That's a pretty good impersonation.
Thank you very much.
I like the door knockers.
Oh yeah, and the guy with the bird head. It's so interesting being your head. Okay. Brook, number 2.
Brook, bending the rules a little bit. I'm throwing out a trilogy for my number 2 spot, and it's the Back to the Future trilogy.
There you go.
Yeah. So good.
I think I'm the only one that I loved the second one better than the others.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You need them all. You especially
yes, you
need
do.
The first and second.
Without
the second one's great.
You can't do the second one certainly without the first one. But the second one I like in my time travel movies, which is one of the kind of reasons why I'm not all that. Outlander's cool. My wife and I are watching all 7 seasons right now. But the fact they just kind of went back to one time period. The one thing I liked about Back to the Future 2 was they're going back and forth and changing time and having alternative timelines and Biff's going back and doing that's so cool. That is great.
I love those moments. I love those moments whenever, he's doing something, and then in the second movie you see that the first thing happened because he did something in the background to help the first thing happen. And it's just like, it's awesome. Like the sandbags falling on the guys on stage or, swinging the door open and smacking somebody in the head or whatever,
Yeah. And Aiden, and my son thinks it's the third one that's the best.
Oh. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Yeah. Well, let's do this. Could you watch the third one as a standalone and think it was just as good?
No, you have to know that story. You have to know that story.
Yeah.
And that's why I say Brook is
correct.
The
emotional weight comes from.
You have to do it as a trilogy. You have to do it as a trilogy. And that's why I totally put that.
Here's something that popped up in my news feed world years ago, and I never realized it, never thought about it even, is I myself would never call Michael J. Fox an action star, an action hero, an action movie star, nothing. But it was said somewhere in a blurb, in an interview, in a magazine, this is how far back it was, is that if you counted the number of minutes that Michael J. Fox / Marty McFly was not running, jumping, in a fist fight, on a skateboard, it would be about 5 minutes across the entire trilogy.
Yeah.
That almost makes him an action movie star.
But he didn't fill the action movie star.
There were no guns,
of the 80s.
Explosions.
Yeah.
but yeah, he was constantly on the go in that movie, in those
Without
movies.
Yeah. Okay, Johnny, what's your number 2?
My number 2, it was Labyrinth, but I changed it on the fly
There you go.
to an honorable mention
Oh,
because you said Labyrinth. It is Legend.
Yes.
nice,
Oh yeah,
nice.
the only movie that I can
Yeah.
like. I love Tom Cruise in that.
Tom Cruise, early, yes. The kid that played the little elf guy, the
Uh-huh.
boy, it wasn't an old guy looking young. It was a kid,
Yeah.
and he did like smashing with that. That was talked about a lot. But the scene where the gown is dancing and she gets up, and
Oh, I
she comes
know
off
the
food,
music.
banquet, they come together, and then none of it would be anything without the great Tim Curry.
The great
He
Tim Curry,
Just,
phenomenal.
people like, you always see these memes about, Tim Curry and Rocky Horror, and that's how you know him. And no, it's the Lord of Darkness and Legend.
Now, yeah,
And yeah.
and
And in today's cinema, I would never want to see anyone touch Legend. But there was a time where I always wanted to see a sequel or prequel. Who is he talking to?
oh yeah, I know. There's
Who
there was so much
is-
world building in that you could have done
Yes.
so much more with that. I'd love to see see them
Yes.
return to that world. I don't need to see a remake of Legend. Let's go back to that world and because there was so much world building, kind of like Kroll, same thing. There was so
Yeah.
much great
Yeah.
world building. Let's do
Yep.
something with it. It's just sitting there. Filmmakers, get off your butts and do something with something that's you have Barbie and you have to do all these and Mario and everything that you've already done before. Why not pick up this and run with it and do something special with that? But
Yeah.
Lovingly, I say they have time. They could, be sitting at home when they're, not walking the picket line. They could be working on it.
that's
So,
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did Legend do at the box office? Does anyone know?
You know,
Was it like a sleeper?
I saw it in the box office, and
Yeah.
my friends actually said because it starts out with that. I think it's that isn't it? It's either a scroll or a narrator. I can't remember which one, but
Yeah,
it
it's
was
a
just so much in depth.
Yeah.
And Jack loved Lily and blah blah blah. And one of my friends were like, "Oh, did you narrate this, Michael?"
Is this a kissing book?
Michael, do you know there's a it's not a musical version, but there's a music heavy version of this movie.
I'm sorry.
I think I have the DVD of it, the Blu-ray of it.
I remember the
If I do,
guy
I'll
from
get it
was
to
it
you,
was it
CD
the guy
player.
from Yes who did the final song?
There was just like way more music and way more. Yeah, there was a lot of. It was very music heavy.
Oh, that would be very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So, the number one, my number one, it wasn't necessarily a trilogy, but I couldn't pick just one because basically anything by John Hughes.
Oh, very nice.
A Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, Ferris Bueller. I mean, let's face it, those movies were, and they were 80s. Although, the other day I did see Breakfast Club. It's a lot harder to watch as an adult.
I bet it is.
It is a lot
I
harder
mean,
to watch as an adult.
Anthony Michael Hall came to the Rodeo Cinema and sat there and watched Breakfast Club with us. And there was the scene where they went to Bender's locker, and that was, you could hear people groan.
Yeah.
For the message is written, spray painted on his locker. But still, it was, and the crazy thing is, at the end, he did a Q&A. Not one person mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to know if Judd Nelson actually had a punchline to the joke.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
But no, I just mean the moment where Bender's talking about being beat up by his dad and it's
It's
like
tough.
there are just things that are like, but there's kid things in there that when you're a kid you're like, oh, that's cool, that's funny, whatever. When you're an adult you're like, no. But all these other great movies. John Hughes was the 80s.
Michael, I got one for you.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard of Searching for John Hughes
No.
or Finding John
Oh.
Hughes?
Oh,
Or
you gotta watch
the documentary, Don't You Forget About Me.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Search for
You
the
gotta
John
watch
Hughes documentary. It took place years before his death. And because remember, he was spitting movies. I'm going to talk a whole lot about John Hughes more than once tonight. So, spoiler alert. So, he wrote these scripts. He never took more than a week to write a script. He wrote The Breakfast Club in a weekend.
Wow.
So then all of a sudden, all the people are like, oh, Home Alone. All these movies were his.
Mhm.
And then abruptly they stopped.
Yeah.
and this group of college kids said why. And back then, you couldn't get on the internet and Google why.
Right.
You had to get in your van and drive across the country to find out. So they literally found out where Judd Nelson lived, where Ali Sheedy lived, where Anthony Michael Hall lived, and they drove cross country talking to these people about John Hughes. And I'm not going to get into the movie away, but look it up.
Yeah, I'll have to find that one.
They basically they set out to go straight to John Hughes' front door. It's a really good if you're a John Hughes fan. Yeah,
that's very cool.
Anyway, Brook.
Brook.
No, it's awesome. So the quick shout out. It was so hard not to put it at the top, but Highlander, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Ghostbusters, Top Gun.
Yeah.
But my number one, the original came out. The first of this came out in 1979, and the sequel came out in 1986. It's Aliens.
Aliens.
That's my number one.
Without a doubt. I was one. That's why I didn't want it, because when we said T2, I was like, okay, I don't want to spoil it. Someone might have Aliens on their list, but game over, man. Game over.
Game over, man. Game over. It's so great. It is better. The original is fantastic. And it is better than the original. It is the Empire Strikes Back of horror.
Without a doubt. And totally different style too, because it goes from that horror feeling of Alien to more of an 80s action adventure to, I mean, it's still horrific, but everybody,
That fantastic scene with, the auto loader with the, the loader suit at the end. It's just, you're like, we're all going to die. How's she going to die? And then the elevator comes up and it's just fantastic.
Okay. Johnny.
Okay, Ruffles and Falcor. The answer to why is Johnny's number one Cloak and Dagger? Because of the escapism. It's not my number one, though. It was a great movie. It was a fantastic movie. Not my number one. So some of my shout outs, Lost Boys, Beastmaster, Weird Science,
nice.
Willow.
Yes.
But my first place is a trilogy that was not a trilogy. They even came out in different orders. But I had a group of friends in high school. This is back when I liked people and I had groups of friends. People, humans, and the living. I can't do it anymore. But and we all made a pact that if any of us ever passed, we would get together and watch these three films. And we've unfortunately had to do it a few times. But these films are the story of them in high school, the story of them in college, and the story of them as adults. And that would be Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, and Four Seasons.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever seen
Four Seasons. If I can think about it, you could almost follow that to be the same four people.
Yeah.
From
not
high
a
school,
trilogy,
college,
but
to adult life, going through the ups and downs and tropes even of what the world presented them, in that time period. Yeah, John Hughes, of course, with Breakfast Club. St. Elmo's Fire with the it's I'm successful, you're not. Do we still treat each other the same way? The drug use into play, and then Four Seasons for the breaking of relationships and how it's in tradition.
Yeah.
There was a couple always going on vacation together, but so the unintentional trilogy.
The only thing I think that none of us mentioned was Die Hard.
Was Die Hard 80s?
89.
It was in. Yep, it was in my top 10 list.
I didn't even think about it until we started mentioning action heroes, and I'm like, John McClane.
Holy shit! It was 88.
It is an 80s movie, but really it goes under the Christmas movie.
It is
category,
a Christmas movie. Yes, it is the best Christmas movie.
I will fight you if you say it's not a Christmas movie.
Highly recommend. That one is a true Christmas movie. Yes, a lot of great movies come out in the 80s, and I don't think we cared too much about special effects because some of them weren't necessarily all that great.
The story,
but it was about telling a good story, and I think we've gotten back to that because there were a time in the 90s, boy, when Then when it was about making just special effects in movies and not really caring so much about whether you had a good movie or not. But I think when the 2000s came in, that was when we started going, okay, we can use these special effects, but don't make this movie all about the special effects. Still, you still have to tell a good story. And that's why I'd love to see like the Highlander redone with today's special effects and an actual Scotsman playing the Highlander.
I'm so torn. I feel like Hollywood's just going to screw it up. You know, like I'm so torn about that. I just like
they're doing it though. Apparently they are making
Highlander had a Scotsman.
No, it didn't. Well, it did as a Spaniard.
As a Spaniard, right? Yeah, it's the Spanish.
You know, when you live that long, all the accents merge together.
And I just figured maybe he'd been in Scotland long enough to where he got the accent. But still, the fact that they hired a Frenchman to do a Scotch accent, I don't.
But he did so well. Did you watch the series?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the series was so good.
Yeah, and actually, I thought the Highlander 3 was actually fairly decent. It was a cool idea. The idea that there was someone who was like locked in almost a time stasis. And so when he broke out because of the mining or whatever it is, that
like Mario Van Peebles.
Yeah, he euthaned and had to start. That was kind of cool, but.
I didn't like the whole planet Zeist and the Queen.
No, that's 2, and 2 did not exist. Two never happened. 2 never happened.
Right.
2 never happened. We have talked many times about how much I love the first 10 minutes of Highlander 2, and then they screw it up.
And actually,
Gaming Network. Let me bring this up. Highlander. So there was a time in the 90s when everything got a card game. Because Magic the Gathering came out, and then Decipher did Star Trek, and then they did Star Wars, and then X-Files had a card game, etc. Highlander had a card game, and it was really neat because you could play plot cards that were like game-changing effects, but most of the cards were parry, block.
Oh, okay.
And it was quadrants like upper left, bottom right, stuff. And then it was a pretty cool game, and then it died out. Mm-hmm. The company just kind of went away. There is for a lot of card games that have died, there are still people out there who make the cards, and there's digital ways to play them. This group has started a company, has gotten the rights to reprint all the previous cards, and has made a whole new set along with it, and they are launching this coming week at Gen Con.
Oh wow!
I'll be keeping a close eye on it. It's a fun, quick card game where you're really like sword fight dueling, and you can play the card where all of a sudden you can play Holy Ground. The fight stops because you realize you're in Holy Ground, and you're in a church or something or whatever. Yeah, there was a Mythos card. It was all about the TV show. All the images on it were from the TV series.
Holy Ground, Highlander.
Pretty good.
Johnny, if you play the Dust in the Wind card, does everyone just my week?
My God! I will never forget.
It's brutal.
When Tess and Richie both went down, and then McLeod is sitting there, and he gets the Highlander feedback, and you're like, oh my God.
They're not going to let him rest. They're right there. Oh my God, give the man a break.
No, you start realizing one of them is an immortal. Was it Tess? Was it Richie? Was it Tess? Was it Richie? And I'm not going to tell you. You have to go watch to find out.
The
40-year-old show.
I got it. I have to admit, when Who Wants to Live Forever and old Heather runs down to greet Connor, and she's old, and he's
You talk about a movie watching it now versus watching it when you were 15. That scene. Who Wants to Live Forever? At the time, I was like, well, me, that'd be awesome. And now you're like, yep, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
You'd see, and you'd be tired. You'd just be, okay. We're coming to the end here. Any final thoughts about movies of the 80s? They were awesome.
They were awesome.
They don't make them like they used to.
No.
That's right.
There you go.
Right.
But of course, there are still good movies nowadays, too. So, because some of the superhero movies in the 80s, let's face it, they were horrid. They were bad.
most of those were like made for TV though, like
Yes.
the Captain America
Thor,
and the
Thor,
Spider-Man.
and Thor, and Hulk. Yes.
Oh my god, yeah.
The Masters of the Universe was a 1987 film. Michael
Was
Neville.
it,
There
was
you
it
go.
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, with
I
young
think-
young Courtney Cox and Patrick Duncan. Well, the guy who
Patrick Duncan McNeil.
Yeah. From Voyager. Yes.
Tom Harris.
Yes. Tom Paris.
Yes.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren. Yes.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And that had one of my great lines was when they're eating the ribs. And they, how did they put this food on these little white sticks? It's like, that's meat. All right, guys. It is 8 o'clock,
right.
and I got to go to bed.
We do.
We got to figure out
When
something
do
to
we
talk
get
about in 2 weeks.
see you? When do we get to see you next? We get to see you next in just a couple of days.
Oh, everyone, come to New World Comic Con. We are going to be there,
Woo!
and I think, Brooke, you're going to be there, right?
I will be there.
Yeah. New World Comic Con. It's at the
Andrew.
fairgrounds. Look them up. New World Comic Con. I think it's newworldcomiccon.com.
Yep.
We're going to be there all day Saturday. I'm not going to be there all day Saturday, but Red Dirt will be there all day Saturday. We have a panel at 11. Come down to New World Comic Con and enjoy it. It's going to be so much fun. We love Buck and we love New World, and we thrilled about being able to see them. I've been there every year since I think it was 2015, their first one. That was in the Paramount back on Film
Oh, yeah.
Row. So
Yeah.
Oh, and Rocky. Oh my gosh.
Rocky, Princess Bride.
Now Rocky 1 was
Yeah.
77, so that, but I think Rocky 2, 3, 4,
Rocky 2.
5,
Woo.
I think those are all in the 80s. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys
Oh.
take care.